Almost a true story. Subscribe so you don't miss new stories. Tragedy in Jonestown City. Once upon a time, in the small town of Jonestown, located in Guyana, South America, a tragedy unfolded that would shock the world. It was the year 1978, and the charismatic religious leader, Jim Jones, had amassed a following of approximately 900 devoted members in his sect known as the People's Temple. Jim Jones had a powerful hold over his followers, preaching a mixture of religious teachings and socialist ideals. He promised them a utopian society free from the troubles of the outside world. However, this idyllic vision would soon turn into a nightmare. As time went on, concerns began to grow about the activities within the People's Temple. Reports of abuse, manipulation, and isolation among its members reached the ears of concerned family members back in the United States. The situation escalated when allegations of financial misconduct and a government investigation loomed over Jim Jones and his cult. Faced with mounting pressure, Jim Jones devised a horrifying plan. He convinced his followers that the only way to preserve their community and protect themselves from the outside world was to commit mass suicide. He painted a bleak picture of persecution and imminent destruction, urging his devoted followers to embrace death as a form of liberation. On November 18, 1978, tragedy struck. The people of Jonestown gathered in their settlement, surrounded by dense jungle, as Jim Jones addressed them for the last time. Parents clutched their children, and fear and desperation filled the air. Poisoned fruit punch was distributed, laced with a deadly cocktail of cyanide and sedatives. Mothers and fathers obediently gave the deadly mixture to their children, consumed it themselves, and passed it on to their fellow believers. The tranquil silence of the jungle was shattered by the sounds of agonizing cries and the final breaths of the victims. Within a matter of hours, over 900 lives were lost, including those of innocent children. The tragedy in Jonestown shook the world to its core, leaving a lasting scar on the collective memory of humanity. The horrifying events in Jonestown serve as a reminder of the dangers of blind faith, manipulation, and the destructive power of charismatic leaders. It is a testament to the importance of critical thinking, independent thought, and preserving individual freedoms. Today, the memory of those lost in Jonestown serves as a somber reminder of the fragility of human life and the importance of safeguarding against the manipulation of vulnerable individuals. May their memory endure as a cautionary tale, inspiring us to be vigilant in protecting ourselves and those around us from the forces that seek to exploit our trust and devotion. Frozen tragedy, Air Florida Flight 90's fatal descent. In the heart of Washington, D.C., on a bitterly cold winter day, a tragedy unfolded that would forever be etched in the memories of those who witnessed it. It was January 13, 1982, when Air Florida Flight 90 met its devastating fate. As the day began, the city was enveloped in a blanket of snow and ice. The weather conditions were far from ideal for flying, but the aircraft was cleared for takeoff from Washington National Airport. On board, the Boeing 737 were 74 passengers and 5 crew members, ready to embark on their journey to sunny Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The pilots, Captain Larry Wheaton and First Officer Roger Pettit, prepared for departure. However, unbeknownst to them, a series of unfortunate events was about to unfold. Due to the icy conditions, the aircraft had been sitting on the runway for an extended period, causing crucial components, such as the engines and wings, to accumulate ice and snow. The pilots struggled to gain altitude as Flight 90 accelerated down the runway. The aircraft struggled to break free from the grip of the icy runway, and their attempts to lift off proved futile. With horror, the passengers and crew realized that disaster was imminent. Desperately fighting against the laws of physics, the aircraft managed to climb briefly before its trajectory shifted downward. Panicked cries filled the cabin as Flight 90 made a doomed descent toward the Potomac River. The 14th Street Bridge stood in its path, and within moments, the plane collided with the structure, ripping off a wing and disintegrating parts of the fuselage. In the blink of an eye, the wreckage of Air Florida Flight 90 plummeted into the frigid waters of the Potomac River. The impact was devastating, and only a few survivors managed to cling to the remnants of the aircraft. The freezing river became a battlefield of survival, with passengers and bystanders alike rushing to help those in need. Rescue efforts were launched swiftly, with helicopters and boats braving the treacherous conditions to pluck survivors from the icy water. Despite their heroic efforts, the tragic reality could not be ignored. 78 souls, including the crew and all but 5 passengers, lost their lives in the crash. The investigation that followed revealed a chain of unfortunate circumstances. The accumulation of ice and snow on the aircraft, coupled with inadequate de-icing procedures and the pilot's lack of awareness of the dangerous conditions, contributed to the tragic outcome. The crash of Air Florida Flight 90 serves as a somber reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of safety measures in the aviation industry. It prompted critical reassessments of de-icing procedures and pilot training protocols, leading to significant improvements in aircraft safety worldwide. Today, the memory of those who perished in the Air Florida crash serves as a tribute to their lives, reminding us of the ongoing efforts to prevent such tragedies from happening again. As we honor their memory, we continue to strive for safer skies, ensuring that the lessons learned from this fateful day are never forgotten. Shattered Peace, the tragedy at Morpheus Barracks. In the heart of Beirut, Lebanon, during a time of political turmoil and conflict, a devastating act of terror unfolded that shook the world. It was October 24, 1983, when the Marine barracks at the Beirut International Airport, known as the Maison des Français, or Morpheus building, became the target of a horrific attack. The building housed American Marines, who were stationed there as peacekeepers in the midst of Lebanon's civil war. The multinational force aimed to provide stability and support in a war-torn country. However, on that fateful day, their mission would be tragically cut short. As the sun began to rise, a large military truck packed with explosives raced towards the Marine barracks. Driven by a suicide bomber, the truck accelerated, crashing through the perimeter barriers and smashing into the building. A massive explosion erupted within seconds, engulfing the barracks in flames and debris. The blast was devastating, claiming the lives of 241 servicemen, including 220 Marines and 21 staff members. The impact was felt not only in the physical destruction it caused but also in the emotional toll it took on the families and friends left behind. The attack was later attributed to the terrorist group Hezbollah, which has ties to Iran. The act of terror was intended to undermine the international presence in Lebanon and force foreign forces to withdraw from the region. The aftermath of the attack was one of grief, mourning, and an outpouring of support from around the world. The tragedy served as a stark reminder of the dangers faced by those serving in uniform, who often sacrificed their lives in pursuit of peace and stability. In response to this devastating event, the United States and its allies strengthened their commitment to combating terrorism and ensuring the safety of their personnel deployed abroad. The memory of those lost in the Morpheus building attack remains a solemn reminder of the ongoing struggle against extremism and the importance of international cooperation in the face of such threats. Today, we honor the memory of the brave servicemen who made the ultimate sacrifice in the Morpheus building attack. Their names are etched in history, serving as a reminder of the resilience and determination of those who fight for peace, even in the face of unimaginable tragedy. May their sacrifice never be forgotten, and may their legacy inspire us to work tirelessly towards a world where acts of terror are nothing but a distant memory.